So that's the first thing that I'm going to ask you. Do you know what you're worth? Now, we are talking about in the economic marketplace, in the job market. Do you know what you are worth or not? Maybe that's why you're not getting your million. Maybe you aren't getting what you're supposed to have, the salary, the income, simply because you don't know your worth. You haven't done any market research, or you've allowed someone who doesn't know you, a system of years, tenure, degrees, assign a false value to you. What if I made a bold statement without even knowing you that I know is absolutely true? And that's you are worth more than your current income or salary, right? And you're going to say, well, Neil, how do you know that? You don't know me. Because here's what I do know. I know that each of us are capable of delivering more to more people than we currently are. And if that's the case, and if we look at the law of economics, of sowing and reaping, the more we give, the more we get back. The more we plant, the bigger the harvest that we're going to receive. So we're going to look at how do you receive, how do you ask for your million and get it. If it's true that you are currently worth more than your income or salary that you're getting, you're going to ask, why are you not getting what you're worth, right? So if it's true that you're worth more, why aren't you getting what you're worth? And so in my journal here, as I'm thinking to myself, as I'm writing out these ideas, while I share them with you, they may not necessarily be for you. They are for me to get in my journey to become better. You don't know what you're worth. So that's the first thing that I'm going to ask you. Do you know what you're worth? Now, we are talking about in the economic marketplace, in the job market. Do you know what you are worth or not? Maybe that's why you're not getting your million. Maybe you aren't getting what you're supposed to have, the salary, the income, simply because you don't know your worth. You haven't done any market research, or you've allowed someone who doesn't know you, a system of years, tenure, degrees, assign a false value to you. Maybe you're thinking, well, I'm new at this. Maybe this is their standard pay. Well, I want to ask you, have you done your own research to know what the market says you're worth? Maybe you have a different skill set or years of experience in another field that allows you, that makes you more valuable in the current field that you're in. So I would ask you to consider to do market research. Don't allow years or age or tenure to set a value for you or on you that might be artificially low. The second reason why you might not be getting what you're worth today is because you don't know what you want, right? So it's one thing to not know what your worth is, but then to not know what you want. Value is tied to purpose and intention. I want to repeat that one more time. Your value is tied to purpose and intention. If you don't know what your purpose is, if you aren't living a life of intention, intentionally, then you don't know what you want. More than likely, you will be willing to take whatever you can get. You'll take that good enough when better might be an actual option for you. Without purpose and intention, without these, you don't know what you want out of life. Therefore, you lack a true sense of worth. Now, if I ask you, what are you worth? And I'm talking about economically, you might say, man, I'm worth $1 million. I'm going to ask you, well, what is your purpose and intention? Are you doing $1 million activities on a daily basis or on a consistent basis? Are you operating in a way that if I didn't ask you a question, I would still see everything that I needed to know? This is someone who believes they are valuable, that they are deserving, that they are worthy. And then after you don't know what you're worth, you don't know what you want. Number three is you didn't know that you could ask for your million. And here's where I'm going to challenge you for the rest of this video. The idea of asking for your million. Maybe your environment, education, limiting beliefs have kept you ignorant to the reality that asking for your million is an option. Now, we're going to talk about how to ask for that million in just a moment. But many of us never knew that it was possible, that a million was even an option. Now, I say million, it could be 100,000, it could be billion, it could be millions, it could be $50 an hour. Whatever your million is, it is possible. It is an option for you to ask. We as children are told what? That children are to be seen and not heard. So these are some things that I hear, that I'm always careful about saying, especially to young kids, to adults, to friends, colleagues, peers. This is what we hear. This is how we're conditioned, and we start to think that a million is not a reality for us. If you've ever heard these, you can just quietly or internally raise your hand. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. Now, I know that we tell kids that, but on the weekends or whenever I'm involved with kids, I'm telling them, hey, you all know you get what you get, and they will finish a statement, and you don't get upset. I'm like, that's not always the case, right? How about this one? Eat what's on your plate or don't eat at all. Uh, I understand. I know times are different, and some of you are like, Neil, but you're a disciplinarian. Your dad was a sailor. Your mom was strict on you. You're absolutely correct. But if we aren't careful, these small things here will allow us to, or will force us to believe that we are not deserving of, that it is not okay for us to ask for our million. And here's one that many of us, especially for my ladies or my minorities, you might hear: know your place and be quiet. Right? So you get what you get and you don't get upset. Eat what's on your plate or you don't eat at all, or know your place and be quiet. These seemingly insignificant, that's one of the challenges of shooting video in a live environment outside, right? You never know if the iguana is going to come out of the tree. You never know if something's going to sneak up on me. If you all see something behind me, I need y'all to scream on my behalf before it gets to me, right? Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Know your place and be quiet. So I'm going to ask you, maybe you don't know what you're worth because you haven't done market research. You don't know what you want, so you've really got to figure out what your intention and purpose is, or you didn't know that you could ask for your million. And that might be because of some long-standing beliefs or some things that have been indoctrinated into us as kids that we're still holding on to. When was the last time you asked for your million? Right? That's a very honest, a real question that I want you to ask yourself. When was the last time you asked for your million, when you knew that you were deserving, that you knew what you wanted, and you knew that it was a possibility? These are the questions that Neil asks Neil on a daily basis. Neil, when was the last time you asked to be the keynote speaker because you know you have something of value? When was the last time you said, yes, I am deserving of this, and you asked for it? I believe that asking is the beginning of receiving, but that's how we're going to close out. If you say never, I need you to lock in right now. Okay. And here's why. If I say, when was the last time you asked for your million, and you say never, lock in with me for the rest of this video. We've got some good stuff here that's going to probably change the way you see yourself and the actions that you take. So don't get caught up on the million. For some of us, the word million is a 4-letter word, is bad. We should never say it. The desire to be a millionaire is something that should be frowned upon. Shame on you. All of that. Don't get caught up on the idea of million. Here's what Matthew 7:7-8 says. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, And he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be open. So that's Matthew 7:7 through 8. And so I want to ask you, are you asking so that you can receive? Because if you don't ask, so we have to look at the converse of this. It says, ask and it shall be given you. So what if we look at this on the other side? What if it read like this? Don't ask and it shall not be given to you. Don't seek and you will not find. Don't knock and it will not be open unto you. For everyone that does not ask does not receive. He that does not seek does not find. And to him that does not knock, it shall remain forever closed. Right? These are the things that I want to challenge your mind, maybe your methodology, maybe even your whole idea of philosophy. What do you believe you are capable of? What's open to you? So, how do you ask for your million? This is where I want you to lock in, because in my studies from my mentors, my coaches, my peers, those who have decided to show me a way to ask for my million, here's what I believe. The ask begins with a true belief in receiving. Let's call it a confident request. Now, you can't just ask for your million if you don't really believe that you can receive it. Now, if you know me, if you've heard me talk about one of my big ask, ASK, there is a K at the end, you would know that I have a belief in my ask. I have a confident request. I have faith that even though I might not understand how it's going to happen, I do believe that it is going to happen. I ask with confidence. So these are 3 or 4 ways that we're going to ask for our million. First, we're going to ask intelligently. And here's what that means. Be clear in your communication, whether it be with your employer, your spouse, or God. Ask with clear communication. So we want to ask intelligently. Here's another part of asking intelligently. Ask the right people. You don't go to a bum and ask for a loan. You don't go to a kindergartner for marriage counseling. Ask people who have the ability to deliver on your request. So those are just 2 pieces right there. We want to make sure that we ask intelligently, and inside of that, we want to be clear in our communication with whomever we're speaking to, employer, spouse, or to God our Father. We want to ask the right people, someone who has the ability to deliver on the confident request that we're going to make. And then another part of asking intelligently is going to be ask at the right time. Sometimes it's the wrong time to ask. Don't ask when negative emotions are high. Don't ask when the air is thick with uncertainty or people are fatigued. So we want to ask intelligently. We want to ask the right people, and then we want to ask at the right time. Or let me say, we want to be clear in our communication when we ask. Okay, so ask at the right time. If you and your spouse just had a falling out, don't go asking for, you know what I mean? If there is tension or people are fatigued or tired, that might not be the right time. So after we ask intelligently, we want to ask specifically. Don't be vague in your request. Describe in detail your desire. It shows mental effort on your part. People are usually only willing to invest in you after they see you've invested in yourself. If you're going to ask intelligently, then follow that up with a specific ask. Hey, can you help me do this by this timeline at this location? Right? Can you help me achieve this, or can you give me? So one of my big asks, I'm going to put it out there right now, is for a G650ER. I'm very specific with my ask. I'm telling everyone, I believe that someone has a spare or extra or used or no longer desired Gulfstream 650ER that they want to give me. Now, I could ask for a plane, but I don't want a Cessna 172. That's not what I want. I am asking intelligently by making sure that I'm clear in my communication. I'm asking the right people at the right time, and then I'm specific with my ask. And then number three is going to be the game changer in all of this, and that is to ask expectantly. As you ask for your million, whatever your million is, we want to ask with confidence. We want to have an expectation that the people that we're asking of, that we're actually going to receive it. Have a sense of confidence in your ask. Don't be arrogant, but have a belief in being deserving enough to receive your million. Do you believe that you're deserving of your million? If not, let's pause on the ask. Let's go back and work on our internal issues so that we can believe that we are deserving of. Let's get that self-esteem up. Let's build and boost our ego. Not quite to Kanye's level, but we do want to ask expectantly. Don't be afraid of the response. Welcome the feedback. So check this out. Here's what I love from the Aladdin factor. If your request is not granted, you'll find yourself in the same place you currently are. If someone says no after you ask for your million, what do? We look around and we say, things aren't that bad after all. Where I am is okay. It could be a lot worse. And then we take that feedback and we figure out, did we not ask intelligently enough? Did we not ask specifically? Were we maybe hesitant or not as believing in our ask? And then the final way that we ask for our million is to ask through action. And here's what I wrote down. It's okay to ask, just don't ask first. Because why? I need to see, they need to see that before we ask something, that we've actually put effort and we've put energy, that we have an investment into whatever the desire is that we have asked for. Do the work to be deserving of a yes. Make the universe, your spouse or employer respond, of course, I'll give you your million. Look at all the action, meaning work results that you've created. There are people who will ask for a million, and when the person who's being asked looks at the body of work, they'll say, why would I give this to you? You don't deserve. You have not added enough value. If we ask through action, if we go in and put the hard work in on the front end, when we ask for our million, more times than not, if we've asked intelligently, specifically, expectantly, and if we've done the work on the front end, if we've sowed the seeds of work, of intentionality, of being clear in our communication and doing everything we can through action, the spouse, God, universe, employer is going to say, of course. And why would they say, of course? They're going to say, well, you are deserving. You have done all of this. Now, we don't only do things to ask or to receive later on, but that's topic for another video. And then finally, asking is the beginning of receiving. No one that we know, the greats amongst us, they have not gotten where they are because they pulled their bootstraps up. That's not a reality. They asked for help. They asked for their million and they were expectant in the ask. So I'm going to ask you, in what area of the ask do you need to improve upon? First, do you know that you are worth a million? Do you know what you want out of life with intention and with purpose? Do you know that you have permission to ask for a million? And when it comes to the process of asking, are you going to focus on asking intelligently, asking specifically, asking expectantly, or asking through action first? Maybe you're doing a piece of it, but there's just one or two missing pieces to the puzzle. So I hope that you found this content valuable. And as always, my ask of a million is that you would subscribe to the channel, that you would comment. I would love to know what your thoughts are. I want this platform here to be a conversation place where we can have dialogue back and forth. I'm going to ask that you share this content with someone that you believe needs to ask for their million to realize that they are worth it. Because here's what I do know. I know that I love you. God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time I see you or you see me, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.